Bengals 1-4, looking to get back against the New York Giants on Sunday night.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Oh, sorry about that. That's a vibe, bro. I really feel like since we changed to that intro, I feel like I'm more professional. I feel like I have a different vibe, and I feel like everything has not gone our way in the football world. But I am happy to say that we are back. We're better than ever. Welcome to Wincinnati Pod. Want to give a big shout out to my partner Ace and anybody that's in Florida right now. Shout out to our coastal fam that's dodging or trying to or attempting to dodge one of the biggest storms in a long time, Category 5. So prayers out to all of them. I'm gonna be riding solo in this one right now. Pause. And I want to attempt to talk to y'all about some football and get to it. Bengals at 1-4. I've done a bunch of shows. I did 2 guest spots, and then I just did my AFC North roundtable. So coming off of that, and then here we are. Shout out to my boy Cornell. I saw you in the other show. We're here, man. Bengals at 1-4. If you would have told me that they would have been 1-4 before the season started, I would have bet you any amount of money in the world, and I probably would have lost my home in the process, right? So, we're here. There's so many different things that people talk about to say, how did we get to this point? Is it the front office? Is it the misfortunes of before? Is it currently right now the defense just doesn't have enough talent? Is it Lou Anarumo? Is it Zach Taylor? Is it not having enough hair on his nuts in these key spots? Speaking of that, I seen a good stat today. My guy Evan posted this, but the Bengals are at the bottom of the league in terms of going for it on fourth down. How many times you watch a Bengals game and you're like, bro, I really think that they should go for this right here. I thought last week they had a good spot. 4th and 1, I would have went for it. I hated the call on 3rd and 1. I would have thrown like a toss sweep or something. I'm trying to get away from that game, but it is what it is. Bad teams figure out ways to lose games, and the Bengals are, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, they've been in this spot where you could go to every single game. You could start with the Patriots game and say, well, if they count the touchdown, in that game, you win the game. Afterwards, the league says it did count, but in the game they didn't. You go to week 2. You say if you don't commit the penalty on 4th and 16, and Joe Burrow doesn't fumble at the end of the game, and all these different things, you're like, man, I would have won. 4th and 16, that's crazy, and you're at their house. So you got that. Then you got the Commanders game where I just think that the defense just couldn't get a stop. I hated the game plan. Bengals played pretty well on offense, but it is what it is. We didn't punt. Then we go to the Panthers game, and I thought Dalton gave them a little bit of work. You know what I mean? And Bengals pulled it out, and you figured out ways. Dejon Anthony makes a play in there that's not talked about a lot with the fake punt. And then you get to the Ravens game, and the list of different ways on how they lost that game is insane. And it's one of the reasons why I think moving forward, now I'm at this point in the season where I'm just thinking, okay, how are we about to play this out? On one hand, you're one game out of a wild card. As crazy as that sounds, the wild card teams, you're one game behind that. The other thing is you have the reality of you could do some damage in the AFC North because you've only played one AFC North game. But the reality is that you've seen them not do what they had to do in so many different spots. So it's just tough sledding for us. And so when Joe Burrow comes to the podium today and he talks about, hey, look, you are what you are. Your record is your record. And the Bengals currently right now are 1-4. And so at this point, you got to understand that kind of the leeway and the benefit of the doubt that I've been giving the team the whole entire season, and a lot of our fans have been doing the same thing. I just, you know what I mean? I read a couple comments too that were just talking about Ace too. Ace, I talked to him earlier too. He seemed like he was getting prepared. And, a lot of our Florida friends too, they're getting prepared. And I think right now too, like I said, when I led with the show, it's like prayers out to, like all of those people, because the eye of the storm is coming. The eye of the storm is headed towards the Bengals this upcoming, week. Because if they were to lose this game, then mathematically the math just ain't really mathing no more at 1-5. And at that point, you're going to have some crazy decisions and some different things that you probably got to go over. And in my mind, I don't think the Bengals are there yet because the Bengals quarterback is playing so well. Currently, right now, I was talking about Joe Burrow at the press conference. I feel like a couple of reporters gave him some stupid questions. But currently, right now, Joe Burrow is first in the NFL at 40-yard passes. He has 5 of those. He's first in the NFL with touchdowns at 12. He's at 1,370 yards, which I think is 5th in the NFL in yards. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It might be 5th or 6th. He's 2nd in the NFL in completion percentage at 72. He's also first in the quarterback with quarterback rating. And the reason why I say that too is like, if you're going to lose games in the NFL, generally you're always taught that the very best quarterback is going to win the game. And I feel like Burrow has been like the best quarterback in all of the games, arguably, except maybe the Jaden Daniel ones. I do feel like he was better this past Sunday as well, too. I just thought the defense at no point really had his back. They had a couple stops here and there or whatever. He does make a crucial pick at the end, but I just think 5 touchdowns, 400 yards, like that's insane. But the math on you playing really well at the quarterback position suggests that more times than not, you're going to get wins. And I think some of the matchups that they have coming up, and we're going to get to the Giants one coming up, some of those matchups I think are in their favor because on the defensive end, there are some things that we're going to be looking at, but also there's another thing that says I don't think that a lot of these teams could really hang with Joe. And we put a lot of teams to the test, and some of them answered. Most of them answered, only winning one game. And you put a lot of teams to the test, but at the same time, you kind of think about it and say, there's no way that they can keep on losing like that, right? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I've never seen anything like it. One of the things that people are going to talk about is probably the defense. And the defense is the biggest catalyst to this whole thing. I thought week 1 they weren't bad, but since then have given up some key plays, even starting with the Chiefs game. Panthers game gave up some key plays, and we still won. The defense. One of the conversations that I've been having is that I feel like the young guys have to play. The young guys have to play on 2 different counts. One is because they have to play because the Bengals went out and said, we're going to draft 10 guys, and we're going to keep those 10 guys. By starting up that plan, you have to continue that plan. And I think that a lot of guys in front of them, like the Von Bells of the world, the Sam Hubbards of the world, we're seeing like the decline to a certain extent, even though Sam Hubbard had a real good game this past week. You're seeing different guys like Dejon Anthony make a play, a week before, whatever. You're seeing guys that you drafted early like Battle, DJ Turner, Dax Hill. I don't know if you guys have seen the information. I'm going to go to the injuries next. Dax Hill is now out for the season towards ACL. So prayers out to Dax Hill as well. But some of the guys that are at the forefront are slightly declining. And even if you don't feel like they're declining, the Bengals plan has never been we're going to go sign a whole bunch of guys this all season. We're not going to trade for guys this all season. We went forth with a plan. The plan until said that we're going to go get 10 guys. Those 10 guys, we need to go ahead and play. Guys like Eric All currently right now are playing, and you're seeing dividends of that every week. Laid Roquan out on a play on a run block early in the game, set the tone. Something about Iowa tight ends that is nothing to mess around with. The dude is a dog. You're seeing that from other guys on the team. McKinley Jackson had a really good rep early in the game too. But it's not that you're trying to do something drastic. It's 2 things. One, you have to play it because the plan says that you play it, and you can't be stagnant and you can't be complacent in your thought pattern now. The second thing is this. if this thing doesn't go well, the worst thing that you could do, like if you were to lose this game, knock on some wood, the thing that you can't do is have a bunch of guys that aren't going to be on the team next year, like BJ Hill, Sam Hubbards of the world, probably Mike Hiltons of the world. These guys probably won't be on the team next year, most likely, right? You can't have those guys out there and then losing these games, and then we get into the end of the season and then or the latter part of the season and have a small sample size. You take that small sample size, you'll go into the off season and you wouldn't know what the hell to do. So for me, I feel like the best thing to do is to make sure that you're figuring out different ways to implement that plan and go forth with it. Because if you get into the offseason, you need to know what a Jermaine Burton is. You need to know what McKinley Jackson is. You need to know what McLaughlin is at some point. You got to figure out all of these different things. And the reason why I'm saying that is it's just that double-edged sword that you pulled out the knife when it came draft night, and you just got to now go out there and use it. And some of these teams that we going out there with, they have a gun and there's knife or whatever. You got to be able to use it. And I'm not afraid to see what those guys got. I think Dejon Anthony is the ball hawk that the secondary needs. I think that Jordan Battle is the short enough tackle hitter that, you know what I'm saying, that the Bengals need. You know what I mean? I feel like DJ Ivy, who was just now today, just came out too. He's now been cleared to practice too. So you got guys like that in the wing. You got guys like Fig Newton at cornerback that I think have some of the mental toughness and some of that dog that you're looking for in the secondary. And I feel like Newton could be a instrument moving forward to go against tougher matchups where you got to be more physical. The guys like CCB and the guys like Von Bell in the secondary now are the people that got to be the mouthpiece to be able to instruct, help guys out, and put them in the right place, along with your two linebackers in Pratt and Wilson. If you could get those guys collectively to get these guys on the same page. When Von Bell was signed here, I never thought of him as a starter. I thought Battle would be the starter. Geno Stone, I only thought of him as an outfielder. Lou has to change up what he's doing. I thought the press conference after the game where they were saying that, yeah, things are going to change. Things have to change. I expect some drastic lineup changes. And I think some of the lineup changes, it's a good week to do so with a team that at home isn't scoring a lot of points. At home, the Giants are scoring 10.5 points a game. That's not to say that the Giants now lately haven't been going on the street and been playing a little bit better since Brian Daboll has challenged Daniel Jones. So I'm not saying that they're less than. But I do think if you're going to do it, you wouldn't want to do it against the Kansas City Chiefs or somebody like that, right? So I think at this point, you got to figure out what you got. And then I think there's a strong belief that throwing guys into the fire is going to work out. And don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. I've seen a lot of different teams, speaking of the Chiefs, that had lower draft picks when they initiated the same plan where they brought in lower round guys and had them playing. Guys in the 5th, 6th round that you guys don't even know about. And then their younger guys like Carl Loftus, they had to play them early. And I feel like we're doing that with Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins is now the starter. Zach Carter, they did what they had to do last week. Shout out to him. That's the homie. But they did what they had to do. And I think the change is happening. And it's happening right in front of our face. And part of it is Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and somewhat T. Higgins are the leaders and the stars of this team. And they have to carry the team whether you guys like it or not. It was always going to be like that. But help is on the way. Sheldon Rankins today was at practice. He was now healthy, who hasn't been available for the last 3 games, I believe. So you got Sheldon Rankins out there. You also had Mike Hilton come back at practice. Shout out to Amarius Mims, who also got dinged up in the game this past Sunday as well. He was a full participant in practice as well. It is a little weird with his because in the game, I thought it was listed as an ankle injury. Today, it was listed as a calf injury. So that's something to think about. I don't know what's going on with that. But Sheldon Rankins was out with the hamstring injury. I think he played like 1.5 games, I guess. So he's missed the last, what are we, 1-4? Yeah, he's missed the last couple games or so. So you got to understand that this is what we're at and this is what has to happen. And some of the woes on the defensive end, I credit Bengals fans for not diving too far into this, but a lot of those injuries are very costly. And I think now getting those guys back, I think is now a good point to say, hey, we should be able to see what the plan looked like initially. And then on top of that, you got a guy like Lawrence Guy that you picked up that I think can have a smaller role in here. I don't know if he's active this upcoming Sunday, but that's a guy that I think I would want to see. Want to give a quick little just got to do a quick promo to play some bills here. On my end, I wanted to give everybody a chance to do this. Shout out to our partners at BETUS. We're launching an exciting new promotion exclusively for our influencers. Forget the old 125% promo. We're now offering 150% on the first deposit with just using the promo code YouTube150 on BETUS. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I was going to pull up a couple different things I wanted to show you guys. In fact, I might just pull this up for you right now. I'm feeling a little froggy. I'm feeling a little frisky. So I did want to look at something real quick because I do need to present this to you guys. Let me get this screen out for you. So currently right now, one thing that I'm a little bit worried about on this Giants game is the scoring. So I hope you guys can see this. There's currently the over-under for Bengals Giants game is at 48 points. I'm going to put 100 because I think in this wins is 90, but I'm going to do this because I feel like, excuse me, I feel like the Bengals have a good chance of scoring a lot of points, but I also think that the secondary of the Bengals doesn't really have a great shot to do this. So to stop a neighbors that might play. So we're going to bet the 100 to make a 90 on there. So I'm going to just bet that real quick. Shout out to BETUS. Go check that out. Hope you guys sign up, that promo or whatever. What I was going to say. A lot of people are asking about Ace earlier, whatever. He's doing fine. Everybody's doing fine. But in the eye of a hurricane, it's kind of crazy to be talking football right now. I did want to get into some of the stuff with the Bengals and the Giants coming up. It's going to be a primetime matchup. You got neighbors that's still in concussion protocol. So with him being in concussion protocol, we don't really know right now. Is he going to play? Is he not? I do not. I have no idea. And in my mind, I don't feel like the Bengals have enough horses to stop what the hell they're going to do in the secondary. I do feel like Sheldon Rankins coming back, combined with Chris Jenkins, combined with all these different guys that we're talking about, along with Mike Hilton, that is a really good way to go and get some reinforcements. But Daniel Jones has been playing pretty well lately. I'm really a little worried about this. I think when you lose the way that the Bengals have been losing, it's just tough, bro. It's tough to be confident because currently right now I just don't trust the defense. That's why I just took the over-under on that bet. The Giants have allowed 21 points or less in the past 2 weeks. I think that Joe Burrow and the Bengals blow past that. I think they have some favorable matchups in the secondary that I think the Bengals can exploit. I do think, I saw this stat earlier today, the Giants, as far as disruptive impact plays, pass breakups, fumble recoveries, and all things included, currently right now, the Giants are number one in the NFL at that. Do you know who is 32nd? The Bengals. So the Bengals have to get some of these guys back to go and make some impact. If they can get some turnovers in this game, I think they could. But the problem is, for me right now, is that the Giants have wide receivers that I don't know if the Bengals can stop. And the way that Daniel Jones has been playing pretty lately has been pretty damn good. I talked about lately that the Giants have been averaging 10.5 at home. This is a Sunday night game. The Bengals are favored with a worse record at a 3.5 favorite on the road in New Jersey where the Giants play. So I am a little, thinking about like, what the hell are we going to do with the game? But also everybody else says, and everybody that's not around us is currently thinking that the Bengals have a chance to wipe them. So I kind of lean on that too, because the Bengals offense has been humming. They don't score that much. So we got to see how this plays out. I don't know. I'm on the fence about all of that. The Bengals have scored over 100 points over the last 3 games. So that's something to hang your hat on as well. I think a lot of this stuff too that we're talking about when we get into like all of these football conversations too, it is very important to understand where the Bengals are right now, and it's not where we thought we would be. But I will say this. A lot of people thought that Joe Burrow wouldn't be in this spot. They didn't think that Joe Burrow could come back with his wrist like this. A lot of the trolls in the comment section, a lot of people on the internet told us that Joe Burrow's best days might be behind him. A lot of people told us that the Bengals would never really be shit for real. And they did a lot in a very, very brief amount of time. Now, what it does is build up a lot of resentment from a lot of people that have nothing to do with the Bengals. I'm pretty sure the Giants probably have some of that resentment towards. So normally on every Sunday, you get everybody's best shot. And I don't think the Bengals have ever shied away from that. Or at least Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins have never shied away from that. But the Bengals need to make sure that they play their A game and keep their head on a swivel at all times, because you never can underestimate your opponent in a spot like this. And currently right now, you're playing for your life. And if they were to lose this game, the conversations about the T. Higgins trades and all this stuff like that, they're going to get really loud. So I hope everybody's really ready for that. And not really ready for that, but ready for the aftermath of what could be. Because there is a lot of could be. Had the Bengals won this past week, I feel like we'd be in the driver's seat. But because of that, there's a lot of people on TV right now saying that Joe Burrow didn't do enough. Joe Burrow isn't enough. He's not really winning anymore. I guess he plays defense. I guess he holds the football, to kick field goals as well, too. It is crazy, but it is all these things all have one thing in common. They're all in the past. And currently right now, the Bengals do have an opportunity. When you go look at the landscape of the playoffs and you go look at all these different things that are in front of them, the wild card teams like the Colts, the Jets, or whoever you think, do you really think right now on October 9th that these teams are better than the Bengals? I don't. But the Bengals don't play as a team and they don't play complementary football. So when that happens, you have a lot of different things that you have to worry about on a week-to-week basis. And I think that fuels most of my angst or most of my doubt about the Bengals. But a lot of those things could be answered on defense. And if the Bengals defense could just get middle of the pack, I think they have a strong chance to go and make a lot of big wins coming up. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. I'm also very excited for chicken wings, as always.
Wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M to the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings, and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for curing wings. Say what up to Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTV did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zimby stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TB got big levels, and now you already know. Hits are pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim. M to the B's.
Shout out to my boys and my dog over there at Midwest Best Barbecue, located at 669 Justice Court, Loveland, Ohio. 45140 is the zip code. Shout out to them. One of the greatest food spots in all of Ohio. I promise you, if you have a chance to go there, you need to make sure that you go and check them boys out and go and see what all the fuss is about. I think that everything that we talk about or anybody that we've ever endorsed on here, I feel like they're all places that we've all done something at before. And that's one of the best food spots in the world. So make sure you go there, go anywhere near the game. I guess this week coming up, we're playing the Giants, so you're not going to have a chance to do that there. But if you come there, make sure you go there and go eat some great food over there. I don't really have I never really thought about this before I went on. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm flying solo. Prayers out to Florida, prayers out to a whole bunch of people that are near the coastal areas too. So hopefully everybody's okay there. But I did, me, I'm really good at just winging a lot of stuff too. And I'm good at just talking about the Bengals. But I feel like a lot of times that, we talk about the Bengals. I feel like sometimes people feel like the Bengals are like owed something, or the Bengals, sometimes I feel like our staff or our front office or even our fans, I feel like sometimes they don't understand how hard it really is to win in the NFL. And a lot of these other teams do. And a lot of these teams tell us woulda, coulda, shoulda stuff all the time. And we're like, ha, 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 and we just beat them. And I think for the first time in a while, we've seen how it looks when you're on the other end of losing. And the margin of victory is so small every single week, especially if you're not playing your best ball. But the thing that's so crazy about this team is that even though they're 1-4, I just still believe. And I guess that I'm always gonna be crazy like that. My partner, Forrest, we always joke about it. We call it nineism. And it's just like this belief that you're gonna get it done no matter what. And I feel like Joe Burrow and them, they've never wavered. Mike Hilton has a great quote today where he talks about, he says, the Bengals defense has just been shitty. And that is what it is. And you own it. Like just us losing last week, we could play the game that people do and talk about injuries or people that went out. Like, we don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not even going to, I don't have to mention that, because at the end of the day, as time moves on, nobody cares. And we learned that along the way. Like, people don't talk about the Bengals going to back-to-back AFC championship games. They talk about the Bengals going to the Super Bowl because they live with resentment. The average Bengal fan doesn't wake up and say, what I was going to say, the average Bengal fan doesn't wake up and just say, you know what? I want to tell people about my Super Bowl appearance. What happens is somebody will talk trash to you, you didn't respond, and then you tell them that. The thing that I think is lost in the sauce with us too is that the Bengals came back the following year and did everything that people said that they couldn't. And they went straight back to an AFC championship game. They lose by a field goal with 30 seconds left, where we had a chance to maybe probably go win that game. But this is all a long-term thing with Joe Burrow, but the window does get smaller every single time that you don't win. And when I think about what we got to do moving forward, is you got to go and be a lot more urgent, more assertive in everything that you do. I talk about different things that haven't happened yet. People online said, why are you still bringing up Burton? I brought him up because I don't feel like the offense is perfect. As bad as the defense has been, there has to be checks and balance on everywhere around the whole team, every single point. And that's the margin of winning and losing. Sometimes we go to drafts and we'll get so enamored with the position that we need. Somebody will be like, think about the Billy Price one. We'll say, hey, we got to get a center. And people are like, I don't care, I need a center. When Joe Burrow tore his ACL, everybody said, we need to get 3-4 offensive linemen. Like, that's not the way it works. And see, collectively, we all got to hold everybody accountable. So, like, whether that's special teams, whether it's offense or defense, only thing you can do is really control what you can control, and say that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't 1,000%. Everybody behind them got to be ready to go, because if a mistake is made, nobody's going to come back and say, oh, well, y'all only lost because Jamar wasn't there, or what. They don't do that. They don't do that for us. We might do that for them. They don't do that for us. And so everything has to be met with urgency. And the defensive thing is the main priority. And part of the priority is understanding and believing in the process that you started out. Like I talked about earlier in the show, the Bengals did draft 10 guys and they kept all 10. They need to make sure that they stay on that same path and play those guys. And it's the only way that you're going to learn sometimes. I remember the first time that I taught myself, or my wife helped me swim. I was older. I didn't learn how to swim until I was in college. And she told me, just jump in. And I jumped in and I made sure I dog paddle and I didn't drown. And then after that, I went to the pool again another time. And then she started teaching me how to, how to go over the top of the water, how to go underneath, all the, all these different swimming techniques. And then eventually I knew how to swim. But if you never jump in that damn water, I just don't know what to tell you. And I'm not about to go down on this boat, on this Titanic sinking ship with guys that we just paid money for that aren't producing. So you have to play the young guys and trust the stars at the top of the food chain. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they're going to cook no matter what. And that goes for Zach Taylor. If you get yourself in a situation like that and it's 4th and 1, You need to walk around and let people know, like, yeah, like I'm gonna let my nuts hang. We're the Cincinnati Bengals. We are not that other team in Ohio, and we won division titles. Last 20 years, Bengals won 6 division titles, the same amount as the Ravens. No, they don't have a Super Bowl championship, but that's why we got to go harder to go get one. The reason why we talk ball, because we don't have a Super Bowl. And because of that, we're blessed to be able to say, I'm going to look at everything from every perspective, and I can't lean on the fact that I could just tell somebody I got a ring because you don't got one. And you got to operate like you don't have one. And that's every single capacity. I mean, every single facet of your game. Every single thing that you could do, be better. The Bengals defense was dog shit, but they did get 3 stops. They did get the 1 stop on the field goal drive. They did get the fumble, which wasn't their fault. And then they did get, the safety as well. That's 5 stops right there. I just think that a lot of people are getting so caught up in that and not understanding that everybody got to tighten up all the way around. If that's the head coach, if that's Lou Anarumo, if that's whatever, nobody's really playing 100%. I think the Bengals offense has a chance to be one of the greatest offenses of all time. All I need is a midway version of the defense, and I could take y'all there. I really feel like they're really close schematically on what they have, in addition to the versatility of having 12 personnel to like the greatest show on turf. But they got to start and go and get some wins. I think Sheldon Rankins and guys like that talk that real good talk, that cash money stuff in the all season, they got to come out there and ball. Guys like Sam Hubbard that now are getting relief in the snaps that he gets. If he has 10, 12 snaps taken away from him, he's got to go ball. Osai talked all this good stuff about how he was with Trey Hendrickson all summer. He got to come out there and ball. If they got him moving on the inside, you got to come out there and ball. You got a contract year coming up, my boy, you got a ball. And all these different people that are around them, along with the Bengals, got a ball too. If we don't win this game, the conversation is very different. And I want everybody to make sure that you understand that you're not far away. There are some things that you can do moving forward that I think can help this team out. And it starts on Sunday night. I appreciate y'all. Prayers out to all of my folks out in Florida. Prayers out to anybody that's going through anything, and all the people that's up as well too. We do this Wincinnati stuff because we love it. We love the Bengals, and I've been doing it 10 plus years on social media, probably somewhere around that. And when we suck, I kept the same energy. And if we going crazy, I'm gonna be the loudest one in the room. Just because you're not loud or whatever, you can still ride with me, because under no circumstance will I ever fold. Who they?